Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first official episode of the Aimee Talks Too Much podcast. When I say first official episode, I mean the first one that's actually going to go up. I've filmed this about 3 times, and every single time I've had to delete it because either there was issues with sound or issues with what I was speaking about. So we're gonna try and do it right this time. Okay? The first thing I want to talk about is who I am, why I'm doing this. I'm assuming the first people that are gonna watch this podcast are gonna be the people that know me personally, and the people that know me personally know that I actually have already had a podcast in the past. So let's gently start with that sort of introduction. Today is going to be a lot of, figuring out how I'm going to do this, how this is going to work moving forward, all that stuff. So if you see me having to touch the screen, touch the microphone, the screen wobbling, just understand that I'm a novice. And I will get better at this, I promise. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a proper introduction on who the hell I am. Hello, my name is Aimee Bircham. I am the sole host of the Aimee Talks Too Much podcast. I'm thinking of having guests on if this podcast goes well and it's something I want to continue doing. But as of right now, I'm really enjoying having a project that is all mine, because in the past, like I said, I had a podcast and I shared it. I grew up in northwest London. I have lived there for 20 years and a month, because I'm 20 next month. It's scary. So yeah, 20 years and a month. I'm currently away at uni. I study psychology at uni and I dorm, so this is actually my dorm room. I want to address the elephant in the room. This setup will not be forever, I'm afraid. I think it's kind of cute. I don't know, maybe it looks absolute dog shit, but this setup will be for the next month until I have to move out of here, I'm afraid. So don't get too used to it. I will try and set up either something similar, or if you guys don't like it, I can set up a different vibe in my next house. But yeah, so I'm a uni student. I'm first year doing my undergrad, and so far I'm really enjoying it, really enjoying psychology. The reason I chose psychology was because I love psychiatry, and originally I wanted to do medicine. I ended up doing the UCAT, which if you live in the UK, you know is the medical exam. I was doing everything under the sun to get in, and I did not get in. Obviously, hello. But it was actually a blessing in disguise. I ended up, I was going to resit the year, so I ended up resitting 2 of my A-levels. And I was advertising for a chemistry tutor. So I was interviewing some people of why should you be my chemistry tutor? Oh, it wasn't actually like that. It was more please be my chemistry tutor. I'll pay you as much as you want. So I was trying to recruit a chemistry tutor, and I met this really lovely woman. I cannot remember her name. This was about 2-3 years ago, and she went to the University of Swansea. She was a 4th year medic, I think. And yeah, she hated her degree. She fucking hated her degree. She was saying to me how she loved psychology. She wanted to be a psychiatrist. She got into medicine. She hates it. It was the wrong choice for her. This, that, and the other. And I just saw it as a wake-up call. I was like, oh, this is a sign from God, or whoever you guys believe in, that medicine is not for me, and to just go straight for psychology. So I ended up doing that. I reset my A-levels kind of for no reason, but it worked out in my favor, and now I'm here doing psychology, and I love it. And I feel honestly so blessed that I didn't go into medicine, because I can just imagine it would have ended up with a dropout or something, which not good for the ego, but also not good for the bank account. Oof, 9,000 a year. Yeah, miss me with that. Obviously, I mentioned that I had a podcast before this. My beloved, Don't Tell Anybody. I miss her, guys. I really did love that podcast. I'm not going to lie to you. I really put my all into that. If you don't know already, I hosted that podcast with my friend Tara, and it was just a little something between the two of us. We both wanted to do a podcast. We figured it would be more fun to do it together. It'd be easier to kind of bounce off of each other as well for ideas, and we both would brainstorm topics. Tara's whole role was she was the editor, so any of the footage you saw, she edited it. She had all the equipment, so I brought one of the microphones. She had another microphone that didn't work, and then she had the camera. We would always film at her house, so she kind of did a big bulk of what podcasting is. I'm doing this now on my own, and I do not know how to edit. I do not really have this setup. I am using my iPhone. This is not the microphone I brought. It's still with her. It's a big change, but I'm excited to kind of do it all on my own this time. In terms of that podcast, I did all the social media. So any stupid TikToks you saw, any reels, any Instagram stories, they were me. Which, I mean, I had the fun job in my opinion. I really did enjoy doing it. And like, I'm excited to do that side of stuff for this podcast, but the editing, like, oh, I don't know if I can listen to myself for that long. We'll try to see how it works out. The podcast ended up ending, I think it was, okay, I think the last time we shot a podcast was in May, maybe like June at a push. I don't remember filming another podcast after that, though I could be entirely wrong. And then we released it in June or July. Now, if you search Don't Tell Anybody or you try and look for us, we're not on YouTube anymore. We are, like, I think the first 2 or 3 episodes are on Spotify, and then everything else is kind of wiped. That was not my decision. I didn't want to have everything wiped. That was the decision of my co-host, who, you know, I have to respect in her wishes as well, and what she needed to do for herself, she needed to do. So those episodes sadly you can't really find them anymore. That project was the first time that I felt like I was kind of becoming an adult and I had come up with something. Obviously it was a co-creation between me and Tara, but like my parents hadn't influenced it, none of my peers around me had influenced it. Other than me and Tara, we were like the sole people who created and thought of this podcast and made a logo and all this stuff. And it was such a good experience, and I missed it a lot during uni, to be honest with you. Tara still lives in London, and now I'm like residing at uni, so we just can't really see each other. This is really difficult to talk about. I'm not sure how to approach this, to be honest with you. This is a really sensitive subject. It's kind of hard to approach, and you know, it's a difficult topic in general, so I will give you what I can give you. Nothing less, nothing more, you know, because some things are just not my place to talk about. But the podcast ended up ending, I would say, partially on me just moving away and like it not being convenient anymore and it not being viable, and then a little bit on like a disagreement. Me and Tara were friends for many years, and I'm not gonna lie, there were definitely bumps in that relationship, and you know, there were times where we were friends and there were times that we were not friends. We ended up getting into a disagreement regarding things being said about another friend, and it just like, it spiraled. It was very much, this person told me this, did you actually do this? No, I didn't. Well, now I don't know who to believe. And that was essentially the disagreement. It sucks because I still have a lot of care and regard for Tara. I think she's great. I think she was a great host to do the podcast with. And I think it's sad that like friendships kind of have to go through these cycles of like not talking, and you never know when it just is gonna end. Life moves on, and I'm now doing this instead. And I think even though I'm religious, I'm Catholic, I do fully believe that like everything happens for a reason. I think that if Don't Tell Anybody was meant to still be happening, it would still be happening. You know, when we first created the podcast, it was in like late 2023, and we both had so many different problems at that time, and so many different interests, and so many different this, and so many different that. So we were like almost completely different people. And I feel like I've changed and grown so much from when that podcast started to when I'm starting this podcast. And it feels like a good progression, you know, and it feels like a good change. And I think that's why I'm weary as well of having a host. I think I've got the knowledge now that sometimes having a host doesn't work, in the sense that you guys need to both be in agreement on a schedule, on topics. You need to kind of just not have issues outside of the podcast. It's difficult, especially when two people have a genuine friendship. Friendships can easily get destroyed when kind of adding like business or work to it, if you count a podcast that. But I just think this is fun. To conclude, Don't Tell Anybody, I think it's pretty much dead in the water. Sad to say, absolutely love that podcast. I will never forget the experience I had filming that with Tara. It was a great run, a great time, and I don't regret any of it. I don't, and I hope that she's doing well, and I hope that this podcast lasts a bit longer. I don't know. in the loveliest way, I just would like to hold on to this one a bit longer. But yes, I was talking about the podcast mainly as well for anybody that did watch it or anybody that knows me personally, this is your update on what went on, essentially. So yeah, I told you that I am doing a psychology degree at the minute. I'm part of the psychology society at my university. I'm also part of the athletic society, although I've only been once. I went like right at the end of the year, so it kind of is my fault. But I am part of the psychology society, so I've been on a couple of those socials. I am living in dorms, moving soon. I am a former kickboxer. I'm hoping to get back into it next year, but I did kickboxing from the ages of 12 to 17, so I did 5 years worth of kickboxing, which I absolutely loved. It was so much fun. I got to be, I don't know if anybody understands this in kickboxing terms, but I got to be I was a blue belt stripe 2. So if you understand kickboxing, you get what that means. I also did theatre school from the ages of about, I think I was 8 until 16? 8 until 16, 17? I don't remember. I did singing for like 7 years. So I went to Sylvia Young Theatre School, which is in Marylebone. And I went there for dancing for 1 term because I was god awful. Later found out it was dyspraxia. But dancing for a term, I did street dancing. I begged my dad and my mom, oh, can I do ballet? Shoved me in street dancing, of course, because that makes sense. It wasn't like Sylvia Young didn't do ballet. They did tap dance, they did ballet. No, put her in street dancing. I think that's why I ended up only doing a term, but also because I just had no coordination. I did, I think, a year or 2 at acting. I think it was more 2 years. I loved acting. I did acting at my primary school, and I always wanted to be like the lead person in the plays because I have a massive ego, and I just wanted to be the star, okay? And I was the star. I'm just kidding. For example, we did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I was so set on being Willy Wonka, like nobody was going to change my mind. And I ended up getting it, and I remember being thrilled. We did all these like little plays, and I would audition like my life depended on it. I loved it. And yeah, so my parents then put me into acting, and I did great. And then I got to the age, I think I was about 10 or 11, where you start developing like self-consciousness and like, oh no, what I'm doing is really embarrassing and cringe, and now I'm not gonna try, and because I'm not gonna try, my parents are not gonna want to put money in this anymore. So acting had to come to a halt, and then I went into singing, and I loved singing. I did singing, like I said, 7 years. There's videos on all of my family members' phones and iPads of me singing, which one day I will burn. But I loved it, and it really helped my confidence. I think if you can sing in front of people, you can definitely speak in front of people. And I think also kickboxing just gives you a lot of resilience, but I also think it gives you a lot of discipline. It's hard to walk into a place once a week knowing that you're going to get beaten up. So, it really, really does something for you. And I think both of these things that I did really changed my personality, really helped mold the personality, mold my character. I am also incredibly short, okay? I'm gonna let you know now. I'm gonna let you know right off the bat, because everybody likes to make a little silly joke at me for it, a little silly funny comment. Okay, I'm 2 inches tall. I am 2 inches tall, 7 inches thick. I'm kidding. I am 5'1". Even that's a lie. I'm 5'1" if we round up. I'm 154 centimeters, which is technically 5 foot 0.6. So I'm a round up, but yeah, I'm 5'1", and you will not be able to tell that ever during this podcast because I will be sitting down, but I just wanted to let you know because it feels dishonest for anybody to ever think that I'm tall, and I just don't think I radiate tall girl energy. Another one of the reasons that I decided to start this podcast is because I just think life is too short. I worried about it for a few months. What were people gonna say? Were they gonna be like, well, she had a podcast before and it clearly didn't go anywhere? Or are they gonna, judge me for just loving the sound of my own voice? Are they gonna think this and that and this and that? And I just realized, actually, who cares? You have one life, okay? Profound, I know. Sorry, Plato, Socrates, get out the way. Aimee Bircham's here. But you have one life. And if I want to make a silly little podcast with my life and dedicate my time to this and have fun, I can do that, okay? I have full bodily autonomy, and if I want to pick up a mic and start talking my shit, I will do that. and already I'm having a good time doing it, and it's something that is close to my heart. So that is another one of the reasons that I decided to do this podcast, just to get my thoughts and ideas out there. I haven't really talked about what I'm gonna be talking about on the podcast. It's gonna range. Like I said, I'm a psychology student. It's not, I do want to incorporate psychological ideas, and I want to talk a little bit about psychology, but obviously I'm not a professional. I'm simply a student. I will just be sprinkle that in there throughout episodes. I also want to talk about university. I want to talk about my everyday life. I want to talk about stories from my childhood. I want to talk about everything. I literally want to talk about like pop culture, anything that I want to speak about. Sorry if you hear my flat. I have 8 flatmates, 9 including myself, and so it's a bit of a loud space. If anybody has any ideas about what I should talk about, any requests on like things they want me to talk about, I'm so down to hear it. But for the minute, it's going to be complete creative control for me and talking about what the hell I want to talk about. And if you're into that, please stick around. I would love to have you watching the episodes. But if you're not really into that vibe, that's fine. There's the door. Like, it's all good. I'm just kidding. The door's that way. Or you could just stick around and see if I could change your mind. But, you know, I won't force anybody to watch this. You can click off right now. You probably clicked off in the first 2 minutes, okay? I should be by now on most social medias. I will have an Instagram, the Aimee Talks Too Much podcast. I have a TikTok, same name. Follow me personally. I'm Aimee_Bircham on most things. If not, sometimes, yes, you should be concerned, which is the name of a Finsta I made when I was like 12. So don't follow that account because it's got things that nobody should see, but do follow that on TikTok. That's probably where I'll be updating you on like when the next episode's coming out, or what I'm going to talk about next, or little teasers, little Easter eggs on what's to come in the coming week. And I do really, really want to be consistent on this, so I will probably bulk film. So if my topics are a little like a week off, be nice about it, okay? I am trying to talk about pop culture, and I think it's always culturally relevant, okay? So give me some grace, and I think this podcast is going to be really, really fun. I know I mentioned that I live with flatmates. I live with 8 other people in my dorm. They're the same people in my flat. I share a bathroom with one other person. And yeah, I think we're a pretty even split. If I think about it, I think there's like 5 girls, 4 guys, I'm pretty sure. People have already started moving out, which is so sad. One of my flatmates that I'm really close with has already moved out. I really enjoyed living in dorms. I'm gonna miss this place next year, and I'm gonna miss this little setup because I do think it is kind of cute. But I will, like I said, try and recreate this in the next house. In my next house, I'm going to be living with I think it's 7 people including myself, and my boyfriend will probably be over all the time. So if you hear any noise in the background, I will try my best to cancel it out. I kind of have that setting, I think, on this, and then I think the foam on the microphone, I don't know if you can pick that up, but I'm pretty sure that's to kind of reduce outside noise. I will do my best. Living with 9 people, living with 7 people, it's chaos. But I'm sure I can find some quiet time. So if the noise is getting a bit crazy, I will try to edit out. Don't be confused if you hear the noise go off, if people are screaming in the hallway. I think that is kind of anything I have to say for an introduction. Again, prefacing, this is an introduction, not a proper podcast episode. So my podcast will hopefully be a lot longer than this. By a lot longer, I'm kind of aiming for like maybe 40 minutes to an hour. I'm really sorry if this seemed a bit here, there, everywhere. My last episode was probably a lot more structured, but I honestly had to just redo this because I had a lot of different things to say this time round, a lot of truer things to say. I had a really good time just introducing you to me and my space and what I want to do on here, and I really do hope that you guys stick around, and I will see you on the next episode, which I don't know when I'm going to film it, but I will see you in the next episode. Thank you guys!